Well, hello, and welcome to Live at 5 here at the Potter's House of Fort Worth. I am Veronica Winfield, affectionately known as Lady V, and I'm so excited to share this moment with you guys. I'm glad that you guys are joining in. Please come in if you'll share these moments. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. You can also connect with us. We are on IG, Twitter. You can join us or get more information about the Potter's House of Fort Worth, who is doing some amazing things. You can check out our website. You can check out our TPHFW app. There are so many ways to connect with us. And so I pray that you guys will do that. So as you're coming in, I pray that you'll share. Put it out there. Listen, we share a whole lot of stuff. I want you guys to share this moment. It's going to be an amazing time of conversation. I'm so excited about our guest, who is so dear to my heart. And so I'm so excited. We'll get to her in just a few minutes. I do want to go over, though, just a couple of announcements that were shown. I do want to remind all of our amazing moms to join us this Sunday at 9:00 service for our Mother's Day celebration. We are asking all of our moms, listen, we want you to, if you want to dress up, fantastic. If you want to dress down, whatever you want to do, we are asking you, though, to wear your favorite kicks, wear your Converse, your Chucks, your gyms, whatever your favorite sneaker is. We're asking that you will join us and wear that. And we're going to have an amazing time of celebration because mothers are amazing. Mothers are amazing. And so we can't wait to celebrate all of our moms out there. I also want to just put in your hearing, this is actually the first time that we're announcing it, and we'll announce it this weekend, and you'll hear it on Sunday. But this month is we are calling it Mental Wellness Month. And so we are going to be speaking to mental health on Wednesday, May 18th. We want you to put it on your calendars. Wednesday, May 18th, 7 p.m. It's our normal Wednesday night Bible study, but we're going to give it a platform. And we have a special guest, Dr. Anita Phillips. She is not a stranger to the Potter's House of Fort Worth. And so our conversation, we are talking about when faith meets mental wellness. when faith meets mental wellness. And so this is a family conversation. We want you guys to bring your families. Our young people will be with us that night too. It's going to be a pastor and I are going to moderate or facilitate, and then it's going to be open for question and Q&A. And so I'm so excited that she'll be joining us. So we want you guys to put that on the calendar, May 18th, if you guys would join us for that. Okay, don't forget, listen, we need you to share this time and moment. All right, so let's dive in. I have with me Dr. Sabrina Ellis. You guys, for those, the Potter's House of Fort Worth, our Women to Women's Ministry, you've heard me talk about her. Dr. Sabrina, and I'm going to have her kind of tell a little bit about herself. But for me, Dr. Sabrina is my bonus mom. And so I want to share just a little bit of how we came about. But Dr. Sabrina, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I know. I'm excited and nervous. Listen, but I affectionately call her Bree or Mom. But in this setting, I'm going to call her Bree. I do honor her, though, as Dr. Sabrina Ellis. So, but I am going to just in this moment kind of step into daughter mode with her because she is my mom. And so, listen, what people don't know, Mom or Bree, is that we are absolutely blood related.
Yes.
So we are absolutely blood related. Sabrina's mom, Bree's grandmother, and my grandmother were sisters.
Yes.
And rest their souls, they are resting with God. But that is how we are first blood related. And that'll preach all by itself.
Yes.
But the Father had it so orchestrated that he would take it a step further because he knew the direction, or he's so intentional about relationships that our relationship is so much more than blood. It's so much more than blood. I was afforded an opportunity to live with Bree and Dad, Bishop Ellis. I came into their lives. I think I came into you guys' life when I was 19, I think.
Right out of high school.
And so I've been in her heart for a long time. A long time. And so having this conversation on the cusp of Mother's Day coming up, you are the absolute example of a woman that has been a mother to me, a spiritual midwife, and a mentor. So we're going to talk about those and kind of how that. So Bree, if you'll just kind of share a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into some conversation.
Oh, well, you did a good job. As Veronica, Lady V has already said, we are related, and I am her cousin. Our parents are first cousins. Right. But as it relates to me, I am now a widow, having been married to Bishop J. Delano Ellis for almost 40 years.
Yes.
And so I know what it is to serve as a first lady and then executive pastor in the ministry, in the church. I most recently resigned as the senior pastor of the church, which he appointed me to before he passed away. And many people are like, what? You did that? And I said, yes, because in this season of my life, pastoring is not what I want to do. So my intention is to move forward, not saying that ministry is no longer important to me, but I want to do it in another way. And so now I have recently moved to Dallas, Texas.
Woohoo!
MA, Texas.
Yes. So glad.
So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about being on this live tonight.
Yay. Well, that is good.
My license plate now says Texas.
So you're official, Bree.
Yes.
You're official. Okay, we'll take it. All the Texans, we'll take her. Love her. If you guys see her on the highway, just to so I want to talk about motherhood. I want to talk about motherhood because you, when I came to live with you and Dad at the time, right out of high school, I was already formed, if you would say, right? And so taking on, and at that time my sisters were five. Jasmine, Jessica was maybe 5 or 6, and Jasmine wasn't born yet. So
Right.
that's how long I've been, because you guys know my Jasmine, love her. And so I've been with them a long time. And so couching this motherhood, you raised an adult daughter and young children at the same time. And so you kind of balanced both of those, because my coming to you just was in an authentic way, was just, I believe, the Father's way of mothering in some areas that I needed for the path that he had me, the path of the purposes that he had ordained for my life. And so I just believe, and I tell you all the time, that was just such an ordained, organic friendship and relationship for me to be with you guys. And so, but if you look back at motherhood, you look back at your daughters are grown as well now. What is the best? What is the lesson that stands out to you the most from motherhood? What did you learn? What was the best lesson learned?
Oh, wow. So many. That really, there really aren't any books with 12 steps to being
So true.
phenomenal mother. Um, and I think it would help even some daughters, and I say daughters even more than sons, um, if they would understand that a lot of times we're learning as we go. We're doing the best that we can. Many things we learn from our mothers, and we attempt to pass them down to our children.
Right.
And very honestly, some of it is good, some of it is not so good.
That's right.
And some of it is not even necessary.
That's right.
But at least if you have a foundation to begin with, because I don't, if there may be books written about how to be a better mother, I don't know, but it does not apply to every situation. How could it? Every
Right.
context is different.
Right.
And we certainly didn't expect what we got coming together, because
Yes.
I watched you and your sisters grow up as little girls,
Right.
4, 5, 6, really being born from Lisa, to you,
Yes.
Dina, and just always when we would visit your grandmother, always looking forward to seeing my little baby cousins.
Right.
And and so the whole coming together, and I used to say to you all the time, you prepared me for what I was going to have to encounter with my own, because I started with you as a teenager,
Right.
and then had to go back
Right.
and raise mine from babies.
Yeah. So true. So true. And it's so the times that because I feel like, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as we go, I think your hats with me fluctuated. So it was times when it was mommy, and then it was times when you had to step in and be midwife, and we'll talk about that. And then mentor. Just you like flip that hat, mom, all the time. It was always flipping the hat. And so, but you're absolutely right when you say that there is not a book for motherhood. I think the best thing that we can do for our children is instead of trying to be the best mother, be the best person. And then that in turn will allow for us to be a better mother, to be, I think because we put a whole lot of weight on this perfect mother, and she doesn't exist.
Right.
She doesn't exist.
Right.
And so, but if we're going after being the best person, the best me that I can be, then in turn that will speak in the other areas that I'm called to serve in. So can you give me, and then we'll move, can you give me one fun story that you remember just as a mom? It could be me, it could be the girls, like one of those when you look back that it's like, wow, that was, and I know there's many because We had a very
Yes. Oh,
adventurous life.
um, I don't know. There are funny things. There are scary things. There,
Yeah.
things turned out great. I remember though when Lady V and Dina came to visit, and I was pregnant with Jasmine. Um, I was so sick all the time on the, that morning sickness that
Yeah.
lasted 24 hours a day.
Yes.
And the only place I felt comfortable was laying in the floor. And I know you remember this.
I
When they
do.
got there, I was laying in the floor. If there was any conversation, I was stretched out in the floor.
That is
I
true.
was always laying in the floor.
You had the prostrate ministry.
Yeah, right, right. But what's interesting is because Lady V came to me right before my youngest daughter was born, there was a special attachment between the two of them.
Yes.
And what's very interesting is Lady V became Vicky's bonus mom.
Mm-hmm.
She became
Yeah.
that
For
person.
Jazz. Yes.
And so the one major thing that I
Wow.
remember is when Bishop Ellis and I renewed our vows for our 10th wedding anniversary. And Jasmine and Jessica were to be in the wedding. It was a
As
big
flower
wedding.
girls.
Giving
Yeah.
me the wedding I had never had.
Yeah.
And they were dressed oh so cute. They're beautiful little dresses, their
Absolutely.
headpieces. I think Jasmine was probably 2. And when it was time for Jasmine to be a part of the wedding party and to line up with everybody, she told everybody no. And she used to suck this one finger.
Right.
And everybody came rushing to me, Jasmine won't participate. She said she won't do it. She's not going to do it. I said, well, where is she? She's with Vicky. I said, then she's fine. Leave her alone.
So
And
true.
Vicky kept her the entire time. She laid on her lap and she was fine as long as everybody else left her alone. So I just think it's ironic that Vicky was there from the beginning of Jasmine's birth and actually became that second mom to my baby.
I had not even looked at it like that, Bree, but you're absolutely right.
Right.
You are absolutely right. Wow. Okay, that is amazing. And for all of you trying to wonder how old I am, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so that is great. I love that. So let's talk, Bree. Let's talk about, because there's so many threads in there that lead up to, I know in this day and time that everybody is looking for connection. I know for us at the Potter's House of Fort Worth, that is one of the things that we are driving this year is connection. We've been away, Bree, for 2.5 years, right? Church and connection with people. And so one of the hearts of Pastor Winfield is to have this space or create times and spaces where people can connect. And so as we look out into in church, especially, or out and around, people are wanting that authentic connection. Mm-hmm. With someone. And so so when we look for, as women, and especially in church, I've been in church most of my life, if not all, as well as yourself. And so I want to talk a little bit about spiritual midwives. And then we're going to talk about spiritual mentors and kind of give the difference of the two. Okay. What is your definition of a spiritual midwife?
Well, I don't know if I have an exact definition, maybe something between a definition and a description.
Yeah.
But when you think of a midwife, you think of someone helping to deliver a baby. Yeah. To help an individual give birth. So if I think of a spiritual midwife, I envision someone that is helping an individual give birth to that which is in them, that spiritual part of them. I listened to the preacher Sunday, and he made reference to the glory within us. Mm-hmm. I would say that is the responsibility of a spiritual midwife,
Yeah.
male or female, because
Yeah.
in my case, it was my husband. So, for example,
Wow.
I acknowledged my call to ministry. It became his responsibility to help me birth that, to bring that to pass. So, Vic, you mentioned me being in that role for you. Wow. Let's just say at 19, we did not see a
We didn't know. That's right.
lady. Let's
That's
just say
right.
it that way.
That's right.
And so there was a lot that we knew was in her that had to be birthed.
Yeah.
And we were determined not to let go. There were, as a matter of fact,
Mama, you can't make me cry now.
Okay, don't cry. Don't cry. Okay.
So good though.
Determined that, I mean, and that's not easy. See, listen, let me say this. Those of you who have raised teenagers, you know exactly what I'm talking about without details. And so along with whatever issues of life that Veronica dealt with, there's also just the everyday teenage stuff.
Right.
It's major in and of itself.
Right.
And that's why I said to her at one point, you are making me go through stuff that I'm not ready to go through yet because my kids are not teenagers. But
right.
It was that thing that we knew, because like she said, she had been in church all of her life. So it's not that she was not, that she was unaware
right.
of what a spiritual life looked like.
Right.
It's just that the struggle in her at that time. So it became our responsibility to help her give birth to the spiritual first. And as I'll stop with this. Well, I said it. My husband's responsibility initially was to help me give birth to what I felt like I had been called to do. But at a point, he knew when his assignment was over. So I would say, as a spiritual midwife, after you have helped that individual to recognize whatever they're to give birth to, and it's not always preaching. Let me say that up front. Whatever that is, but that is I believe that is the responsibility of a spiritual midwife.
And being a spiritual midwife is not for the faint at heart, because you are literally, if there is a connection or a divine connection for you to be a spiritual midwife for someone, it is a place where that person is at their most vulnerable, emotional, if it's emotional, physical, if it's physical, spiritual, if it's spiritual, giving birth to something. We've given birth to children, and it is not pretty by no stretch of the imagination. And so coming alongside a person to be a spiritual midwife is you saying, I'm going to walk with you through this season because there's something in you. You said that you and Dad, you knew that there was something in me, and that you guys were willing to stick with it until you saw it come to pass. But it was not pretty. And so spiritual midwives, but you also covered. You guys never uncovered me. Right? So being spiritual, so in that place of coming alongside and being and helping a person birth something, there's a grace. There is absolutely a grace and a call to be that. I don't think everyone is called to be a spiritual midwife.
I agree, because it gets worse before it gets better.
Yes, ma'am.
Just as in a natural birth.
Yes.
I was there when Christian was born.
Right.
And, oh my God. It got worse.
Yes.
Before all of us were happy and glad and he's here. Oh my God. What's his name? All of that happy stuff. It was hours.
Yes.
A lot of hours. And the worst was building up. The pain became worse.
Yes.
The discomfort got worse.
Right.
All of that before there was something that was actually birthed. We knew for 9 months something was coming.
Yes.
Somebody was coming.
Right. Right.
But again, it escalated before it got better.
And in the church world, you know, the mothers teaching the younger, the older women teaching the younger women. um I think we've lost that um, a whole lot. And we'll talk about that a little bit when we talk about mentors. But I think the other part is that we've lost a lot of trust
Absolutely.
in church,
Yes.
in pastors, in leaders, in women. You know, we have this ebb and flow of women don't like each other or trust each other. And so it's very difficult for the trusting, that barrier, that wall to come down for to allow someone to be that. And so if a person, Bree, if a person was searching for or looking for or thinking that they need a spiritual midwife in the season that they find themselves, what wisdom could you give them? Or what wisdom would you give them for
First,
somebody?
well, first to be very careful
Yes.
in this season. There are people out there that will call themselves mentors, um, and sometimes they're just looking for people to control. I'll just be honest. I'll just put it out there. Trust is an issue on both sides, and
Yes.
that's unfortunate because we don't spend as much time teaching people how to have relationships as we do um, prosperity,
Yes.
or whatever you ask for, you can have it. Reach up and
Yeah.
grab it. It's going to get better. You're going to get
Yes.
that house. You're going to get that car. We
Yes.
teach things. We preach things. Not everybody. Not
Right.
everybody. But
Absolutely.
we hear so much of that. But we don't always hear enough about, in my opinion, about building relationships and maintaining relationships. When in fact, that is very important and very key to even your process of salvation.
Yes.
Relationships.
Relationship.
So we do hear women saying, oh, I don't want to be friends with women. All my friends are guys. Women are catty.
Yes.
You have not yet been taught, or you've not yet had the experience of that.
Yeah.
So I would not say that we should ignore the advantages of having a spiritual midwife, but I do think that initially, if that is something that you're looking to have in your life, and you're the first thing you need to do is pray about it. That's
Yes.
not just something to say,
Right.
because we
Right.
meant prayer also.
Absolutely.
This
Absolutely.
is prayer worthy. Yes. And you need to be asking God for a sense of direction, because here's what's happening. As you ask God to prepare you for the midwife and to give you a sense of direction, He's preparing that midwife just for
Yes. That
you.
is
He
true.
will bring it together when it's time to do that, when that is necessary. But
Yes.
it's about being serious about that and not just looking for somebody to call mom again.
Yes. Oh, that's good. That is so.
Yeah.
I was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I used to say all the time, growing up in church and seeing everybody looking forward to calling somebody else mom. Well, I didn't need to do that. I had
Right.
a mother
Yeah.
who trained me, who taught me,
Yes.
and I'm not necessarily against other people doing it. It just wasn't my thing. Now,
Yes.
Vicky calling me mom is because her mother was always there,
Absolutely.
and that was number one mom. I
Absolutely.
was
Till
bringing
this
up,
very day.
but
Yes.
I also put in the time.
Yes.
She didn't just call me that to be calling me
Right
that.
off. Right.
For somebody else to hear her call me that.
Yes.
I put in the work and the time.
Ma'am, that'll teach. Listen, that'll teach. I think the other thing, something you said is significant, is that the person has to be serious, because sometimes we'll want to connect with someone that we see as this mom, or doing great things, or they see whatever gift or whatever that they operate in, and they want to be connected.
Right.
However, they just want connection. It's not for purpose.
Right.
Or they just want the person to tell them everything, because they don't have that personal relationship with the father, who will give you wisdom, right, and clarity and understanding for your own life. And then the midwife becomes confirmation as to what the father is already saying.
Right. Right. The midwife only helps to deliver what's already in you.
Yes. Yes. And we saw, we listen, in the Bible days, midwives, because there wasn't medicine. Right. There wasn't the amenities that we have to bear children in that time. So the cultures looked to them as very important people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they did, you know the stories with that. And so that role is very significant. And so when we'll kind of move this towards mentorship a little bit, because they kind of bounce back and forth. And I was trying to catch some of the questions that keep popping up, but I can't get them fast enough. Sorry guys, but we'll try and answer. If you guys, we'll try and get a few of those in there. So let's talk about mentors, because they're and maybe understanding, Bree, the difference between, let's talk about the difference between a spiritual midwife and a spiritual mentor or mentorship, because that's really big right in through here. Yeah. And so let's kind of talk about that.
Well, as I said, as it relates to the midwife, that's the helping to give birth. I see the mentorship as now helping to walk alongside that example that you need, pointing you in the right direction, not doing everything for you.
Yeah.
But just being a mentor. I think the most important thing I just said was an example, meaning that there is something to learn from the mentor. The mentee can learn. And you're not looking for a mentor for your whole life.
Come on.
That. What did you give birth to? What is it that so when I acknowledge my call to the ministry, and my husband was my greatest teacher, I will forever say that. Nobody has been a better teacher than he has.
Yes.
But he made a statement at a point in my ministry. It's time now for me to turn you over to somebody else. I've taken you as far as I can take you. And I'm like, no, you have not. But it wasn't that he would no longer be there. It was just that he saw that I would now need to be mentored by a female in ministry, a woman in ministry. Okay. And so I had that for a good season of my life. And it is beneficial, because the person I had was what's the right word? Experienced enough to talk about those things that women in ministry should not do, or how to navigate around certain things that only affect women in ministry, how to handle myself, how to carry myself, how not to back away from certain things, but still be a lady at all times.
Yes.
Mentor teaches you those things. A mentor helps you to not be in the face of the brothers in a way that causes you to look not so good.
Right.
We're not saying you got to stay away from the brothers. You got to carry yourself in a way that you're always respected, and so that your ministry is not questioned. Those are the kinds of the things that a mentor does. Now, that's in ministry. If it's in some other area, if it's in finances or whatever, then that mentor is going to teach you how to teach financial literacy, how to make sure that you are financially literate before you go out there trying to tell somebody else what to do with their money, and
Yeah.
how you walk through all of that, and then how that will benefit you. Whatever the area of life is, a mentor is going to help you grow and become that adult. The midwife got you here, or
Mhm.
got that gift here.
Yes.
The mentor is going to help you enhance the gift. They're
So
not
my
for you.
Yeah. So let's paraphrase that in our relationship, because when you're talking, when I first couched this, I said that you've been all three to me. You've been mother, you've been spiritual midwife, and mentor. And the mentor side for our relationship is what you lived in front of me. And so you didn't necessarily say, okay, Vicky, do this. You didn't take my hand and say, okay, when you walk down the street, do this. But you absolutely exemplified and lived and were the example to all of that. And so when I look back over, because I've been with you guys I've been in your life, and we've been connected for a very long time. And so there's been growth and there's been levels. And so where I don't need a mother, which you will always be, there was the season of the midwife, and then the season of being a mentor, right? And so for the expiration date, you talked about that earlier, knowing when, okay, this one is done, and not everybody has the same person to do that. I'm just blessed, I'm double blessed
Right.
and favored, hallelujah. And so but the mentorship, the mentoring side of our relationship is what I saw you live daily. I saw you be a wife to dad and what that looked like. I saw you raise your girls, even though you were raising me at the same time. I saw you in ministry, come into a church and be the first lady of a church. I saw you go to school and do school in the midst of raising kids and doing church. I've seen it. Mom, you are the best example I have
Oh, you're
had.
gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry. Okay. But it's so true that the Father has allowed for me to have all of these experiences with you that have shaped who I am in church. Even now, do I have my authentic way? Absolutely. And the grace that rests on my life. But it was the example. So in mentorship, the other part that I see for mentorship is for a person that may be desiring, they have this goal, or they're trying to pivot their life, or they're trying to do something new, or they've got a shift, where that shifting doesn't necessarily need a midwife, but it needs a mentor. And so a person coming alongside and just walking with them. It's accountability. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Accountability, being accountable for, okay, so this is your goal, this is what you want to do, and we're and mapping out a plan or whatever of how we're going to get there, and then being accountable and teaching where teaching is needed, and being that kind of example or friendship, because mentorship has to have friendship as well. And
Right.
so being able to walk alongside of a person to see them walk out what they said, whatever that goal, because now we birthed it, now you got to walk it out. And so and there's, and you said it best, and not just in church, we get it a lot in church, but there is in business, there is in athletes have mentors, right? Our youngest is in basketball, who has a basketball mentor. He's with a mentor doing teaching and showing things that his father, who is an amazing and it's so great because Pat said the same thing to Caleb. Like, I've taken you as far as I can in skill. Now it is time. You've got to I want you to go further, and I need someone else to get you there.
Right. Right.
I need somebody else to get you there. And so we have to be humble enough to allow someone else to mentor too, because we could get stuck like, no, don't you,
right. You're mine. You're mine.
Yes.
And I have experienced that, it's
Yes.
it's interesting because the growth has to be on both sides. To have a great mentor,
Good.
but the mentor does not know what to do when you have grown to the place that they can take you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go to the next level.
Yes.
And it might take another mentor to take you there. So your mentor needs to have accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. So if you know you've maxed out a mentor,
yeah,
and you got to go further, then look for the next person. You keep climbing. You keep climbing.
Yes.
If you've gone as far as you want to go, that's fine. But you don't stop looking for someone to help you go to the next level. And again, that has to be a person that has accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. Your buddy is not your mentor. Right. Unless your buddy was really, 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 really smart and exceeded really, really, really fast in life, right. And they're going to be able to help pull you up. But if it's somebody that's your age, that's just not likely that they've gone as far as you want to go yet.
And then have the wisdom that's also needed.
Absolutely.
That's needed as well. So Bree, there's this quote that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So how does a person know if they need a spiritual midwife or a mentor?
That it's hard. I can only talk about my experience.
Okay.
And I think, especially when it came to the mentor, the quote is right. I literally had the person ask me, who's helping you? Who's mentoring you? And I don't have that. I'm going to help you. That's how the relationship started.
Gotcha.
I'm going to help you. So the showing up on my part was being present. And this it's not ridiculous. Again, it doesn't matter what area of life it is.
Yes.
To show up at events. You have to show up at places where mentors will be. Like you walk up to tell somebody, I'll need you to mentor me. Not unless it's that kind of setting and you've been told that that's what you should do.
Yeah.
But if people will notice you, and they will notice that you're sincere about a thing.
Yes.
And especially in a spiritual setting, I still believe that the Holy Spirit speaks to people.
Yes, for sure.
Together.
Absolutely.
And especially if you do what I talked about earlier, sincerely pray for God to put you on the heart of someone.
Yes.
And for you to be directed in the right place for whoever that someone is.
Yes.
But I think that's what's important. Your relationship with the Lord and him knowing that you're serious about whatever he has gifted you.
Right.
The rest, I think, comes into place. I think, but that being serious, sincere, and willing to be accountable. That is major. Willing to answer those questions. Why didn't you do such and such and such?
That's right.
I thought you were going to have this done by such and such and such a time.
Yes.
Why didn't you go to this event or this training or this, those kinds of things.
Well,
communication is key.
I'm sorry, I was trying to catch one of the should be prayerfully God led. Absolutely. I know that there have been times and moments, even just being in church or being that the Father would put someone in my heart, right? And so there, when you talk about that the Father would put us on someone's heart, that absolutely is how that has happened for me in different situations. I think that so one of the things, especially with mental health month and mental health. So let's talk about this a little bit so that people are clear. A midwife and a mentor is not a counselor. And when I say that, I'm talking let's talk about the mental health side, because there are areas where someone is in need of counsel, or they are, direction a little bit different. But when we couch back to midwife, and there has been trauma, and there has been some significant things that is causing a person to causing depression, or just some very weighty mental things, and they can't function. The suggestion, and this is kind of, Mom, your field a little bit, where mental health now, because it's so much, we talk about it a lot more now. It's I don't want to say acceptable, but acceptable, where it's not hush hush,
Right.
As it was. You don't talk about, no, just don't say anything, just keep that to yourself. Where now, the encouragement to go to counseling, or to go see someone. So the difference between helping a person understand, let's talk a little bit about helping a person understand when going to a therapist is what's needed versus mentoring or midwife.
Absolutely. I think, first of all, that question is probably more directed at the spiritual midwife and the mentor. If you find yourself in either of those roles, you have to know where to draw the line.
Yes.
Even as a coach.
Yes.
Not a therapist. Even after all of my training in the counseling field, I said to my husband, even as it related to church, we need to call what we do something else other than counseling. And even if we call it counseling, we need to be clear about what the parameters are. And so that if we discover that a person really has some serious mental health issues that need to be addressed by a professional, then we recommend them, we refer them, we send them to the professional. So I did the whole counseling piece because my whole goal was to help the church people, right?
Yes.
Mental health. But what I did not realize at the time was how to do that as it related to being a licensed counselor.
Yes.
And a pastor. That's a dual role.
Okay.
You can't do the dual relationship thing. So what I learned was to choose, and I chose to be the spiritual advisor. I can still talk to the members about their stuff, but after 3 visits, if I discover that you need a therapist, and this needs to go deeper, then I'm going to refer you to someone else. I can do what I do, but under a different heading. Yes. I had been licensed as a clinical pastoral counselor, but now I'm not in a position to diagnose your situation. I can't afford to do that, because now if I can say I sense that there's more.
Yes.
Maybe dealing with some issues in depression, but I cannot diagnose that. So I'm going to refer you to. So I think every person that's in a leadership role dealing with people need to be clear about where the boundaries are, not stepping over to giving counseling or psychological advice if you've not been formally trained in that area, because you can mess people's lives up.
And we have a lot of that. I try to couch that the best way I can.
Yes. You may recognize something is off, and you might be right, but let me tell you, from my context, what I've experienced, a lot of people that are so overly spiritual see things happening with people within a congregation. and they label it as demonic or witchcraft or what,
Yeah.
I learned that's not always the case.
Yes.
And I had a perfect example within our congregation some years ago. And when I made a statement that I'm going to go talk to that person because I don't think it's demons. I don't think, no. You shouldn't do that. You should take somebody with you because it could. I said, okay, I'll take somebody with me, but that's not going to keep me from talking to the person.
Right.
To find out that a lot of the acting out in service was because she refused to take her medication. She did have mental health issues.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you have to be careful with that. You just, and I feel like if you're working to be that spiritual midwife, and I think you should prepare for that. You don't just wake up one morning and say, that's what
I'm going to be one. Yes.
And if you're going to be that mentor, so just like coaching, you learn to become a coach.
Yes.
If you're going to be that mentor, you take the time to learn what that looks like, but it is not counseling.
So good. And you made it so clear and thank you for kind of couching that there, especially with us talking about it this month. I think because we'll talk about a lot more, I'm sure, throughout the month and things like that. And I just want women or anyone that's listening to just understand the difference so that when you are going to the Father, that you are getting you're praying for clarity and wisdom as to what you need. I think one of the things that I love and appreciate about our relationship when it came to in these layers that it has been, the midwife and the mentor, that you never mentored me to be your lookalike.
Oh, no.
Never. And so when we're talking about the older women teaching the younger, and that mom, that's my mother, we have to be careful that we are not trying to duplicate ourselves, but that we are in touch with what that person is what's inside of that person.
Absolutely.
And helping them get that out.
Yes.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Well, if we're trying to bring the best of a person out,
yes,
you have to understand that they were born with their own DNA.
Yes.
Now their ideals and whatnot may have been shaped by some early statements, misstatements, lies, whatever experiences.
Right.
And so you learn to show them that that's not the end all be all. But at the end of the day, what you want is the best of that person to come forward. And so they're going to have their own style. They're going to have their own whatever. However, I feel like my assignment was to show you the quality, whatever it was in, the quality in a good work ethic. Well, you didn't have much issue with that because that was the family. That was the family, not just me. That was the mom, dad, grandfather, everybody.
Absolutely.
So you had
that was our family DNA. Yes. Right.
But in whatever else, how you present yourself as a woman, as a lady.
Yes.
Can I just tell them one little thing about Victor?
Sure. Yes, because I talked about Victor last night. For the ladies that were on Bloom session last night, they got a snippet of Victor. So yes, would you talk about Victor? They don't think Victor's real, Brie.
I know, because you're such a lady. You're such a lady.
Thank you. It's the Lord on the inside.
You know, in the birthing stages, you know, Veronica had a temper. I mean, like off the chain temper, right? And it didn't take a whole lot to trigger it. But one of the things that would trigger it is if somebody came for me, because she saw me as a rescuer. I was that person. And she was, I mean, don't disrespect me. Right. Don't talk sideways to me. Don't talk over me.
Come on, take these earrings out.
So my thing with her after we won't go into the different incidents that took place.
Amen. Amen. They're
Mine
not ready. They're
was
not ready.
always like backing her up against the wall, talking in her ear. Listen, we don't act like this. We can't do this. You cannot fight. You cannot hit this person. Veronica, no, you can't. You can't. So this is a person that was trained in karate.
Yes.
I think all three of you were.
Taekwondo, yeah.
Trained in karate.
Right.
I could not afford to allow her to take her anger out on anyone.
Right.
So that was the getting the best out of her. You could be angry, but you don't have to show it like this.
That's right.
You don't have to act it out like this.
Man.
It was just all she wanted to just hit somebody.
Yeah.
But over time, now at the Potter's House, Fort Worth, you can't even imagine her becoming that angry.
Right.
You would never see that side of her because she learned how to, what the right word.
Well, the other part, Bree, to that is that healing took place.
Healing, so, absolutely. You
healing
said
took place. Yes.
You said there were layers.
Yes.
But absolutely. That was a part. But when we talk about not trying to make you look like me, that never even crossed my mind. I've seen that done and I hate it. I hate what it looks like.
Yes.
It also minimizes who God created you to be.
That person to be. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so as the midwife, it was my responsibility for that to at least be birthed so that you could see that there was more in you than this hurt, angry, whatever little girl.
Yeah.
And once you saw that, I was like, oh, and from there, it was like every step became a step up. It was like, so the Sunday that I sat in the Potter's House and watched your husband be consecrated as the pastor for that church, and I'm looking at First Lady Veronica, I was fit to be tied.
Right. We were. Okay, sorry. You're absolutely right. But you were also willing to walk out the process. We talked about that a little bit in Bloom groups last night. We've been at this for a minute. I could talk to you forever. I think that the people are really being blessed by it. But I kind of want to close us. I want to close it, kind of bring it to a close. And then I'm going to ask you, if you will, just to pray for people that may be in the throes of this place of either desiring a midwife or needing a midwife, desiring mentorship, and just kind of praying for people's hearts with that. But I do want to say to a person that either may have a midwife, a spiritual midwife, or a mentor, that you not take for granted what that person is imparting into your life. And that you absolutely see it because it's for a season, or should be for a season, and that you are willing to grow in the midst of it. That there is a desire in you to be, that you want to see yourself wherever it is, pivoting or shifting or in a place of healing. I get choked up because I remember the healing process that I went through to get to this side. And I'm not perfect and I still have areas that need to be healed. But that specific area of healing came, Brie, if you remember this, it came with a lot of tears. I cried a lot. And so Jasmine and Jessica would be looking like, why is she always crying? Why is she always crying? But I remember Elder McCurry at the time saying that was the Father's way of healing my heart. And here we are. So my heart doesn't hurt. It hurts differently. I'm not going to say it doesn't get hurt, but it hurts differently. That area of my heart is healed. But don't y'all try that part either. Don't try it. No, I love the ladies. They would not do that. But Bree, let me just say to you, and I say this often, or as much as I can, that I'm so thankful and grateful for you being willing to be my mother, my spiritual midwife, and my mentor. You are absolutely a godsend for me. And so I'm so thankful to have be able to have this authentic conversation because you have been all those. And so as you are now here in Texas, with at least two of your daughters, it is my heart's desire to care and cover you as you did for me then. And you got a lot more love in hands. You got grandkids, you
Yes.
got son-in-laws here. And so the love is bigger. But the heartfelt thank you for what you've been to me. I'm so grateful to it. And forever will be the best way I could pay you is to live a life that is
Yes.
pleasing to the Father.
Yes. Yes.
That is pleasing to the Father.
My response to that is, thank you for thanking me. I am so proud of you. And let me just say that the growth piece that you just mentioned is absolutely true. Those of you who either have spiritual midwives, looking for spiritual midwives or mentors, don't hold on so tightly. The purpose is for you to grow.
That's
But
good.
end all, be all, is that it is for the sake of others. What Veronica is doing now is blessing the women at the Potter's House, Fort Worth, and I'm sure others that may be listening that are not a part of the church.
Yes.
What she endured, what she encountered, what she came through, the growth that she has been transparent about tonight is so that she could get here and do this. And there's even more to come because she's constantly thinking of ways to be a blessing to others.
Yeah.
That's what all of the growth is for. I'm still at this stage and age of my life, still looking to grow because
Absolutely.
I still have more to do. But it's still for the sake of others. It's just not for me to be able to put something else on my resume.
So good.
Sake of others.
So good, Bree. You could not have said that any better. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Bree, would you just do us a favor and just pray this moment out for us?
Sure.
And then we will. I know, ladies, I love you. You guys are so welcome. You are so welcome. I'm glad that this has been a blessing to you guys' life. Bree, if you'll close us out, and then we will jump off.
Sure. Our Father and our God, we are so thankful for this time together. We thank you for Lady V and everything that she has put into making this night happen. We thank you for those who took the time to sign on and to be a part of the conversation or to listen in to what was said on tonight. And our prayer is that someone has been touched in a way that is going to make a difference in their life.
Yes.
That they'll take a new direction, a better direction, and they'll begin to make better decisions. And they'll recognize that there is something that's being birthed in them or out of them. And while they're looking for that person that will assist them, that midwife that will help them to get it out, we ask that you give them the patience, that you give them the wisdom and the sense of direction that they need. Show them which path they need to take while you are on the other end making preparation and preparing that midwife for the person that's giving birth. The same prayer as we talk about mentors. Help us all. The plan is for us to be connected, to remain connected, to support one another, to love one another, to help each person. And so as I grow, I reach back to pull somebody up with me. As the person that has gone ahead of me continues to grow, they'll reach back and help me to take that next step, to get to that next level.
Yes.
Help us all to see that, because at the end of the day, at the end of eternity, it's all for your glory. It's all for your glory.
Yes, Lord.
For you to be lifted up. The glory that is in us will be connected with your glory.
Yes. Thank you, Father.
And your will be done in all of our lives. We thank you for hearing our prayer. We know that you're not only a prayer hearing God, but you're a prayer answering God. So for that reason, we can say thank you now for what you are going to do and for the prayers that will be answered. In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. Amen. Dr. Sabrina Ellis, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time to share with us. I love you. We'll talk soon. All right. Take care. Bye.